episodes we do. Hey guys, I'm Fancy.
And I'm Amanda.
And this is Murder by Design. And I forgot to share the screen, so hang on. Every time I do it.
At least you know what time it is.
I swear to God, one time I'm going to get that right. Like, it's going to actually happen, but it wasn't today.
It's all right.
I try. I really do. That's the wrong one. Hang on. I can't hear you. I've got to change back to the head. There we go. Okay. Now I should be able to hear you. Can you talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now I can hear you guys. All right, guys. Well, welcome to, Murder by Design. I've got Amanda here on with me. If you missed Amanda and I's two different psych talks, you guys should totally go ahead and check those out. We talked about killer kids and the death penalty and life sentences. We also talked about, the differences between a family annihilator, which is generally men, and moms who kill, and what is the motivation behind those. Amanda is returning to the team after taking a break for some, much needed rest and recuperation after the Gypsy craziness.
Yeah.
And she finished up, she's finishing up her degree in psychology. So she is here with us to kind of give, some opinions psychologically about these things. So, and we're really glad to have her back because we really like the stuff that she brings to the table. So, basically there hasn't been a whole lot going on with Gypsy and Nick for a while. However, I just did an A&E special. It'll be out in February. We will give you an exact date, and we'll obviously release a promo when we get that. We're really excited about it. I was the expert that talked on that and gave a really good. I feel like it was comprehensive, so I'm really hoping they do a great job of the editing. I was assured that they did. The lady was very excited about it and wants to have me back on, several times. But there hasn't been a whole lot going on. But as you guys know, in 2015, Gypsy and her online boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, plotted and carried out the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, her mother. It's a kind of sordid tale, and it's very complicated. If you have not listened to our 13 episode podcast over on the Good Wives Guide to True Crime, you absolutely definitely should. You can find us on any of the major platforms, where podcasts can be found. You can also go over to justmadgingerentertainment.com. That's our website, and you'll find everything that we do. But I mean, those 13 episodes, we went into great detail. Not only did we talk about all of her medical stuff, all the other stuff, but we really talked about how that case emotionally affected us. And just recently, Christina wrote a blog over on Medium and on our website, and it's called By Proxy, My Gypsy's Shattered Heart. And she really kind of gave her own accounting of how working on this case affected her. And it affected all of us really, really differently. Amanda, you want to share a little bit about how it affected you and what your role was in when we started all of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was kind of crazy for me. I got caught in the middle of a bunch of online stuff, and it was rough. The whole world was pretty much looking at what we were doing, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was rough. I don't really know how else to explain it. It was
right.
a very emotionally charged situation, and it still is.
Right. And you got involved with the Nick side of things pretty early on. We kind of taught, we got you to, start profiling him and looking at what he was really like. And we did that through a series of looking at some emails. I know you spoke with him through email as well, right?
I never have spoken to him personally. I mean, I would like to, just because I'd like to know.
Oh, that's right. That's
about
right.
Him, but I never actually reached out.
Right. MJ is the one that actually got a response back from him. I forgot. You wrote him though, or you were going to write him, and you
I never tried.
Right. We were going to do that, and then it just didn't happen.
He was talking to Dawn, and I was just letting that I just didn't want to bombard him, I guess. I never
Yeah.
actually wrote him.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with Dawn and who she was and what was going on with that?
Well, Dawn was a girl that he met online, or pen pal, actually. I think that's how it started, and they
Right,
dated.
through JP.
Yeah, and Dawn got involved with the team. Well, hey, okay, so Dawn got trying to be nice. She got
Don't have to
involved
be
with the
nice.
team, and it was extremely stressful. But
So basically, I mean, I know that Dawn is a troubled woman. She's had run-ins with the law. She has used drugs and alcohol, and she's got lots of children who she has no custody of except for the one. And so she's just a troubled person. And she basically reached out to Nicholas, like, so many did through JPay, and began to start a online relationship with him. They talked about getting married, all kinds of different things, but she came to us. We had known about her for a while. We had reached out at one point in time. She declined to speak with us. And then she came to us with lots of emails and scary emails. We've shared some of those emails in our Patreon account. If you guys want to check those out, you can. It's on patreon.com at True Crime Wife, or patreon.com/True Crime Wives. There's a lot of documents from the case that you guys haven't seen in Patreon. But I mean, those emails were shocking. Amanda, you want to talk a little bit about the emails?
Yeah, they are. They're very shocking. They were pretty explicit and violent, which was surprising almost. Just because I can't say that I think he ever would have hurt anybody unless he met Gypsy. I think that it's like that fully do, like the two maddenings, basically. I don't think apart they would have ever, maybe they would have.
I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have beforehand, but I do definitely think now that he has, he would do it again. I really truly believe that's what I. Yeah, I think he's gotten it. I think he's gotten a taste for it, and he really he liked it. He talks about liking it, even in his special with Killer Couples. I think. I mean, if you watch that, it tells you all you need to know about him. He says, "I liked it, and I would do it again." And those emails between him and Dawn were shocking. I mean, the things that he said to her, he threatened to kill her. He threatened to kill people that were hurting her. Pardon me?
I said, what did you say? Saying to him? It's just hard. It's hard to
right. We don't. Well, I have some of those, but I don't know. But I do believe that she was doing it on purpose. I think she was trying to incite this rage in him. But my thought process on that is you can only incite what's actually there. So yes, I don't think that she was right in what she was doing. I think she was doing it because she thought she would somehow get a payday out of it, which is exactly what she came to us looking for, and we didn't give it to her, and she turned on us. But I think that yes, while maybe what she was saying to him was triggering him, like I said, you can only trigger what's there, and those letters back, regardless of what she said to him, were probably some of the scariest stuff I've ever read.
They were scary, and they were completely inappropriate. But at the same time, like, how many people out there that have never heard anybody watch, like smut porn? Let's be real here. People can like it without engaging in it. Is it right to talk to somebody like that? If it's welcome. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the person, but Dawn and him together would have made a crazy couple.
Yeah, I think it would have been like Oh, I definitely think we would have ended up with either Gypsy or Dawn and him being with them. I think we would have ended up with something like natural born killers, like seriously. I don't think it was a very bad situation. It was not a good situation. Diane Churchill says, I have personally been told by someone else that has talked to Nick and his new love interest. He's got a new love interest. He has said he would kill for someone he loves. So, I mean, yeah, I just think that it's a bad situation all the way around. There is a reason why he is in prison for life, guys. He is where he's supposed to be. Do I think he needs help? Yes, I do. But he's where he's supposed to be. I would not want him living next to me or my children, or getting involved with one of my girls. I would not want that. I would be afraid. And I think that that's my opinion. I don't know how Amanda feels about it. What do you feel, Amanda?
Hard. So it's hard because the letters are terrifying and what happened was terrifying, but at the same time he is intellectually challenged.
Yes,
that needs to be considered. And I feel like with his issues there should have been some kind of leniency or more towards help. Like I don't know. Right. I just think
well, I can say this. I don't think he's rehabilitatable. I don't think he is, but I do believe that he deserves help, so that he can live an okay life where he is, I don't feel that he can get out and live a normal life and not do something again. Carrie Ray asks, would Gypsy be able to get out of prison earlier than 10 years? Yes, she can serve 8 of the 10 years, which means she would be eligible for parole in 2024. And actually, Titania and I are planning to attend that hearing, and what we're going to lobby for on the behalf of Titania wants to do it on behalf of the Petrie family, which is Dee Dee's family, who believes that Gypsy needs help, that she should not just get out and walk free and do whatever. And she has not gotten a lot of help inside of prison, even though she could have. So our lobbying is that we want her to be released at the 8-year mark. But we feel that she needs to be in some sort of either in treatment, in treatment facility, or a facility that she even if it's outpatient, she needs to be in some sort of program. Oh, my dogs are gonna go crazy because UPS just came. Hey, Purple Passion, we're talking about Nicholas and Gypsy, and we're going to give some updates on some things coming up here. I'm going to mute for a second. Amanda, if you'd like to kind of talk a little bit more about the psychological aspect of this, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, I can't see any of the comments or anything, but I just feel like life without possibility of parole is a little steep for me, just because I don't know enough about him or the situation. But when you put in intellectual disability, that should change something, because it's not entirely fair to send life without parole if they don't understand all that's wrong with it. I guess I don't know. I just feel like I don't know enough about the situation. I think the intellectually challenged thing really gets me, though. That's where I kind of like, all right, well, that doesn't seem fair, but he does seem very articulate and very smart. Granted, I've never talked to him, so I'm kind of on the fence, I guess, altogether. I'm unbiased.
Okay, I think they calmed down enough. He's leaving now.
I was like, I can't see anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about.
No, you can. So if you look on the side, you should be able to see comments up here at the top, and you should be able to click on that. Can you see the side roll? No. On the side here? No, you don't have comments, banners, brand, private chat. You don't have any of that? Mm-mm. Weird. You should have that. That's weird. Okay.
Is there a way to fix it?
Well, huh?
Is there a way to fix it?
I don't know, but not right now, but I can fix it for the next time. I'll figure out how to do it for next time. Cool. So, the thing with me is that, and no, Stella, she's not right. And she definitely needs to get help. And that's what we are advocating for, is for her to get help. I want her to go and, I want her to be able to, live a better life. I hope that that's what she does. I don't know that she will. My money is on she probably won't. But because right now, and this is something that's just breaking out right now that I just found out about, there is a young lady who served time with her. It's her best friend. Gypsy is actually the godmother of her child. I know all of this because at the time that we were working with Gypsy and the family, I knew about this girl and the little girl. And there was some interesting things that happened at that time. Gypsy had been approached, Gypsy was approached by a guy who wanted a signed autograph. So she sent the picture of herself signed to her friend who was on the outside at this point, and the guy paid for this picture. Well, then Christy told me that the guy came back for wanting Gypsy's underwear, and they say she did not do it. Now, I personally do not believe that it's not out of the possibility of realm that she did. But now this girl is over on Instagram and TikTok, and she is raising money through Cash App for Gypsys. It's called Gypsy's Future Fund. And I really find this disturbing. I'm very upset because at one point in time, there was a situation where Nicholas was with Dawn and she was recording or, going live with these conversations that she was having with Nicholas, got Nicholas in a lot of trouble. And that's the thing. I don't think either one of them can help themselves for getting into more trouble. They just don't make good decisions. They are not capable of making good decisions. Gypsy at least is not having conversations, but what this girl is doing is people are giving her questions to ask Gypsy, and Gypsy is responding through JPay, and then the girl is, reading those and posting them. But it's all about getting Gypsy money, supposedly, for her future. Well, no, she doesn't come out and go by herself. She's going to come out. She's going to go into a halfway home, or she has to go to live with her parents to serve out the rest of the 2 years of probation. And there may even be a longer probation period than that as well. So this is upsetting to me. And I'm very concerned that this is a scam that she's kind of pulling from behind bars. What do you think about that, Amanda?
I mean, she definitely shouldn't be selling underwear to guys on the internet. I'm pretty sure there's websites for that, but
right, there is.
I mean, there are. I get the idea of trying to make money while you're in prison for when you get out, but you probably shouldn't be doing anything sexual when you.
Well, you're not really supposed to do it at all. She's not supposed to do it at all. And so I find it interesting that this is what she's doing, because this is in my mind, it's reminiscent of what her mother was doing. She is using her story, her disability, her whatever she wants to put out there, as a way for her to get funds. And then this girl, who knows what this girl is doing, and why is she really saving the money for Gypsy, or is she just saying she's saving the money for Gypsy? It's very suspect in my mind. And Carrie Ray says, I know that the Hulu film on Gypsy isn't completely accurate. Would you recommend any documentaries over Gypsy that are very good? I definitely would say start with Mommy Dead and Dearest. It is pretty accurate. The only thing with Mommy Dead and Dearest is it doesn't go deep enough. That's my only issue. What she put out there is very truthful, but it's very skewed. It's one side of the story only. It's Gypsy's, kind of they really did focus on making Gypsy look good, and I think they were very sympathetic to Gypsy. I think Gypsy's Revenge is another decent one. If you want my honest to God recommendation, you want to listen to our 13 episode podcast. We spent hours talking about her medical records and what she had happened to her. We spent hours talking about the dynamics with the family on both sides. And we talk a lot about Dee Dee and what Dee Dee did and how Dee Dee's background plays into this whole thing. And I do think that we're going to do some updates on that with Amanda to do some more psychological look at it, because at the time she wasn't with us when we were doing those episodes, but she had been with us before. So, but this case is a case that's going to continue to go on and on and on. And when you say you stand on the fence about whether or not life in prison without the possibility of parole is appropriate or not, My thought process is this. I understand that he has, he has learning disabilities. He has, he's diagnosed as autistic spectrum disorder. He would be what would have been called Asperger's originally, but they have, put Asperger's into autism spectrum disorder now in the DSM-5. They made it all one thing, which I kind of think is confusing. I think that there was a better designation. Yeah, but I think the designation really made a difference in what we think of. Yeah, what we think of and what we accept in what this person is supposed to be like, So I think the biggest issue I have is this. He is easily manipulated. He was manipulated by Gypsy. He was manipulated by Dawn. He has been manipulated by other women who have written to him. And he is equally manipulative. Let's just get that straight. And he is very intelligent. He is very articulate. His processing is not as slow as he pretends it to be. So I think that, yes, while he may have some challenges, he does know what he is doing. He's not some guy that doesn't know right from wrong. He's not some guy who doesn't have some amount of social skills. He's not living in a basement, never speaking to a person. He does have communication skills. He is very articulate when he writes these women back, and what he says is very scary and very crazy. But my biggest issue is that since he is easily manipulatable, he was manipulated by two women who I don't believe are all that, worldly. They're not that smart. Dawn is not smart and Gypsy is not worldly. So if he's able to have been manipulated by somebody like that, what would really happen if a hugely, depraved person hooked up with him and tried to manipulate him? He would go along with them. And that is my biggest scare. I do not think that he is able to come out into society and get treatment. He will not get treatment. He doesn't believe in treatment. He doesn't believe in medication. His father has driven that into him. So I think that is very scary. I definitely, my thing is that I believe, and this is one of the things that we started when we started all of this, is we wanted to talk about mental health in prison systems and prison reform, because I do not believe that there is a good option here. Okay. Because putting them in, if you were to put them into a state facility for the mentally insane, that is people that are like taking faces off of people and wearing them. They're not just your average depressed or, even bipolar type of person. These are really scary, crazy people in these institutions, and they are not good places. They're not good. They are not taken care of well. They're basically given medication and zombied out. That's it. There's no help for them. And that's not a good option. I mean, Amanda, am I right in what I'm saying in this and how they're treating them in like a state facility like that? It's not a good place. It's not a good place.
There's not any treatment. I mean, they have like what, AA, NA in prisons, and depending on where you're at and the funding in that area, I mean, you could have one prison that does have a lot of really good programs and then one that doesn't. And I understand where you're coming from about the like not wanting treatment, not wanting I just life and I'm really about rehabilitation, but I do believe there are some instances. I just don't know enough of the situation. Like, I don't know enough about him personally to have.
Well, that's the thing. Like you left as we were getting the background on him, and his father is a big issue in this. He convinces him not to take medication. That's one of the things. And even Stephanie, his mother, said that when she was in the police station and they were questioning her. She said that his father convinced him to stop taking the medication that was helping him to not have voices in his head. I think that he may even have a touch of schizophrenia. I do not. I am very concerned about what this guy has, but he won't get treatment, and so then they can't figure out what's wrong with him. he doesn't want help. He doesn't think he needs help because he thinks that he's an enlightened being. I mean, these are the things that he says in these.
He was raised that way.
Yeah, he's raised that way. Exactly. And that's the sad thing about this. Like, I don't want people to think that we are down on either of them because of, because I understand why they committed the crime they committed. I still believe that they have to be held accountable for it, because we can't make excuses for them of, well, that was what he was raised like, because you can't make an excuse for somebody who becomes a sexual predator because they were sexually, attacked, so we can't do that. But he was raised that way. And both of these kids, and they're very immature. They're very juvenile. And, but yet then they're very mature in other ways, but their maturity is a weird maturity. It's not like a regular, just, it's a dark maturity, and it's very limited because they still don't have the capacity to really understand what they're doing. But I don't think that either one of them, they're a product of their race. They're a product of who they are. And it's why we get into this whole thing of, are they created this way, or did nurture versus nature? Like, was it put into them by what they were brought up as, or did they really just, were they like this when they came out of the womb, And so I think it's a little bit of both for both of them. So what do you think?
I mean, I like I said, I agree, and I see where you're coming from, and I completely understand. I just can't be confident in saying, like, yeah, he deserves to be in prison forever unless I've talked to, I don't know him or his. I mean, I know the letters, and it's hard to be unbiased when you've read that crap. But at the same time,
no, it's scary.
In the 6 years I've been in college now, 5, I feel like I do feel like there's some cases where, it is a product of your environment. When the environment has changed, you could do better. So I don't know. I'm on the fence.
But I think when he comes, my thing is if he comes out, he's going to go right back into the environment that created who he was.
Well,
so he's not
a huge issue for anybody mentally ill. That's a huge issue for anybody with mental illness is when they come out, they'll take their medication. Like if they're forced to take medication to come out, they'll take it for a while, but then they don't feel like they need it, so they stop taking it. And at the same time, like I can understand that too, because a lot of those medications are super hard on your body, and the side effects are like, why would you want to take it? And if you think you're doing better, then why do you need it?
I mean, I went through that. I have my own battle with mental illness. I have severe depression, severe anxiety, and I've been diagnosed as bipolar. And I have my own issues to my own cross to bear. But I don't. At one point in time, I was on 9 different medications because every time I went into the doctor and asked and said something wasn't working, instead of taking me off of something, they just threw another medication at me. Instead of taking me off something and replacing it, they were just like, oh, that's not working by itself. Great. We're going to add this. And I'm like, okay, 9 medications at some point in time, 9 medications. And I was like, the reason I'm off of them now, like I went to my doctor and I told him I need off of them. I need to learn. I know I've learned how to deal with this on my own. But that's because I worked on it, to learn how to deal with this on my own. I don't recommend that for other people who, think that they're better and then stop taking them. And then they go back into that psychosis again. I have learned to deal with mine in a different way and help myself. But the reason I wanted off of them was at one point in time, I took my kids to school, drove them to school, got up, drove them to school, made them breakfast, all of that, came back and ended up in my driveway and had no idea how I had gotten to and from where I was. And so that scared me. And I said, I can't do this anymore. But I do believe in medication. I believe that my husband is on medication. He could never stop taking his medication because he can't function without it. He can't, and so I just don't think Nick will do it. Like you said, he is the type that's going to be like, nope, I'm better now. I don't need to take this anymore, because Bobby, his father, is going to convince him that as well, because,
And
it's like he's a conspiracy theorist. It's crazy,
I want to clarify that I don't think that his crime was not bad, or that because he has an intellectual disability, I feel like he shouldn't have been punished. I just feel like capital murder or first degree murder, I mean, he could have spent most of his life in prison with
the difference in that,
the
Amanda,
possibility
is
of parole.
right. Well, the difference in that was the premeditation of the whole thing. If he had just shown up to pick up Gypsy and they were going to run away, and then he got into an altercation with Dee Dee and he stabbed her and killed her, he wouldn't have gotten life without parole. But because they actually planned that murder for over a year and he was very active in planning that, that's what sank his ship and got him the life without the possibility of parole. And I think that you have to look at that for what it is. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was going to do. And he planned all of that with her. I want this knife. I want you to have gloves. I want you naked in the bathroom when I'm done. I want to rape your mom. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to rape you because you're going to allow me to do that. It was very graphic and very detailed. And so you have to take that. If it was anyone else, if you took the autism off the board and it was just another person, you would not advocate for that person to ever be brought out. And his murder was brutal. 4 stabs would have been, and that's what he thinks he did. He thinks he did 4 stabs. It was actually 27, I think, stabs altogether.
And if you took the autism off the table and just the social deficit off the table, then it should be locked away forever. But that deficit makes a big difference. So
it does. I think it makes a difference in that he should be somewhere where he can live a decent life, but be under a doctor's care, inpatient all the time. I don't think he should be out in society. I definitely think that is where he should be, somewhere where he's getting mental treatment, and maybe he can live a semi, okay life within that facility. But that facility doesn't exist.
There was too many factors. There was too many mitigating factors for him to. I mean, I think that even if you gave him second degree or whatever, and gave him the possibility of parole, the likelihood, because you have to go up for a review for parole, of him being released is slim unless there's change. I just feel like life without the possibility of parole, with the factors of like Gypsy being severely abused, him being intellectually disabled, all of these factors should have been decided.
Yes.
And I just think it wasn't fair on that. Like for Scott Peterson, the death penalty. And it's not evidence. Sorry.
Well, here's the thing, Amanda. I mean, he was given an opportunity and he turned it down.
I know.
He was given. They offered it to him 2 times.
I know.
Of the 30 years, where he could have done a certain percentage and come up for parole on that, and he himself turned it down. His attorneys told him to take it and explain to him what the ramifications was, and his decision. This is what he's told. This is what I have been told that he communicated back to them. Why would I do that when I could get 15 through a sentencing? He really thought he could beat it. He really thought that he would get a lesser charge because of his autism. He believes that his autism was the factor that was going to get him off. He really did. And he still believes this. And this brings us to the breaking news, the update that's coming out right now. So there was a new development last week in the Nicholas Godejohn case. A couple days ago, the Springfield News Leader reported that on December 29th, 2020, Nicholas's lawyers submitted their first post-conviction relief filings with the court, asking a judge to set aside his criminal case. So post-conviction relief is a legal process that can take place after the normal appeals process ends. And post-conviction relief lets a person who has been convicted of a crime make a few specific legal claims. And those claims can include that the trial court had no jurisdiction to convict him or her, which that's not true, that his or her sentence exceeds the maximum possible for the crime, or that the conviction of sentences violates constitutional or state law. And in February 2019, Nicholas Godejohn was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the 2015 murder of Dee Dee Blanchard. His appeals process ended on October 1st, 2020, when a Missouri appeals court affirmed his original court judgment and his sentencing. When the Springfield leader reached out to Nick's lawyers, public defender Jenny Young, she declined to comment on what Godejohn and his attorneys plan to argue before the court. Now, one of the big things that he can argue right here is ineffective counsel. I don't know. I still think that he truly believes that he can win this. And that is where, that to me proves that he is not thinking properly, because this is a shot in the dark that has, almost no way of being won. I don't see this being possible.
Though, is prison where he belongs for the rest of his life?
What?
I said, if he's not thinking
What'd you
properly,
say?
like obviously, I said, if he's not thinking properly, there's obviously something off. Is prison really the answer for the remainder of his life?
No, that's the thing. I've told you there's no good options in this. And in my interview, when I did the interview for A&E for the special that I just did, one of the things that I said is there's no justice in this case. Okay. There is no justice for Dee Dee. There's no justice for Gypsy. There's no justice for Nicholas. There's no justice for the Petrie family. Here's the thing. They're all perpetrators and they're all victims in some way. And for Nick, when I first started out, my opinion of Nick has changed over time. When I first started the case, I absolutely thought he was just deplorable. I was like, that guy is disgusting. Oh my God, poor Gypsy, because I was very pro Gypsy when we started off because of things that we thought we knew. As we began to go through the process, we learned things that, others, that is not out there in the public eye. We were the very first ones to break open the case by putting out her entire interrogation video. It's on YouTube here. It's on our playlist of the Gypsy Rose playlist. You guys should check it out. It's very enlightening. We also were the first ones to speak with a guard at the jail in Greene County who worked with Gypsy and had some very interesting things to share about Gypsy. We've also spoken with some of the inmates that were in there with Gypsy. So there was no justice here. There is never going to be justice. They all have problems. But I think if we're looking at Nick in that term of, is prison the right thing for him? No, but there is no better option right now. What we should be advocating for in situations like this is a in-treatment facility that actually is giving them care and helping them to become. Yes, prison reform. That's it. That's what we're talking about. We have talked about this from the very beginning. And I have done a lot of study on mental health in the prison systems. It sucks. It is available to them, but it's not encouraged necessarily. It's not put in front of them and said, hey, you really need this. Like Gypsy, she has not gone. She could have, but she won't go, and yeah. I really do believe that when we're dealing with something like this, you have to take all the factors into consideration, but there is no better option, Amanda. Letting him out is not a good option. Sending him to a insane asylum for the, a state funded, insane, and there's no good option for him in prison. So I feel bad for Nick because I do have, like I said, my opinion, right. My opinion changed over time in that I felt like originally I felt, throw him away, lock the key. He's depraved. He's disgusting. And then as I learned more about him and saw more things, I really began to see that he has a mental disorder, not that he's mentally challenged. I don't really buy the mentally challenged thing. He is not good. There is things going on in his head that are not right. He needs to be diagnosed with he needs to be diagnosed, officially diagnosed. We've not done that.
In prison.
No. And he needs a place where like I said, maybe he's not out in society, but he could live a freer life where he gets up, he does a job, he watches TV, he has his group, and he does mental health things, and that I would think would be a better choice for him than being just thrown away in jail, in prison. I don't think that's the answer. I want them to have a better care system for these people, because I did facts on this the other day about mental health and how many people in prisons are mentally diagnosed with some sort of mental illness, and it's almost 90% of them.
Hey,
I believe
Nancy,
was it? Yeah.
So sorry, I have to go pick up my little at 3:45.
No problem. You can go. And so we just wanted to update you guys on what's going on. And we're going to be doing more stuff on Gypsy. So Amanda and I have talked about that in great length. I've talked with the team about it. We do believe it's time for us to come back and kind of revisit it. We needed a break. We had to take a break for our own sanity. But now we really we want to work and advocate again for what the things that we originally wanted to accomplish when we started this journey. So you guys are going to hear a lot more about it. So thank you for tuning in today. If you have any questions or any thing that you'd like to know, you can always email us at goodwivesdish, that's DISH, and wives with a S on the end, at gmail.com. You can ask us anything. And I seriously do think you should check out Mommy Dead and Dearest, Gypsy's Revenge, and our 13 episode series of the Good Wives Guide to True Crime Season 1. You definitely should. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Thank you.